Hey, gorgeous friends, Laurel here with Illuminating Souls, and today is March 20th. A lot has happened since my last coronavirus conversation with you. I mean, I've done other broadcasts, but I've done 3 coronavirus conversations so far, and this is the 4th. This is all happening much more quickly than even I had anticipated and with much more intensity. I knew that this time was coming. I didn't know how quickly it would get here. So since our last broadcast, the entire state of California is being asked to shelter at home. All non-essential businesses have been shut down. Also in Pennsylvania, they have shut down all non-essential businesses. We are ramping up and it's going to be very intense here in the coming weeks. So I want to come to you with just a conversation about this, how to continue preparing, and really how to hold for all that you must be feeling around this. You know, in the spiritual community and self-growth community, we often think about fear as something to overcome because a lot of times the fear we feel is amorphous, right? It's I'm afraid of speaking my authentic truth, or I'm afraid of standing up and talking in front of people. And it's not that those fears aren't real, but they're different. They're fears that we can choose to work our way through. But then I think there are primal fears that are based in circumstance. So, for instance, when I was in the giant Northridge earthquake, I was terrified and I was afraid for weeks after. It was a real fear. It wasn't an irrational fear. When the wildfires were burning in Napa, I had a real fear. Again, it wasn't irrational. There was a wildfire burning, 15 miles away from my house. This is not an irrational fear if you are feeling afraid. It doesn't mean you want to let the fear overwhelm you, but don't feel guilty. There's this adage called New Age guilt, right? That somehow you're going to be disempowered or weaker if you feel afraid. It is all right to be afraid right now, but we then turn towards the light. We then try to come into empowerment of what can I do in this moment? How can I show up in this moment? But we are cycling through the emotions, at least I am, whether that's fear, I get anxious sometimes, I am rageful also. I actually just recorded this video and had to delete it because I had a whole rant about the government, which is not going to help you. Just imagine, just fill in the blanks, what I would be saying right now, and you would be right. But I'm not going to put that upon you. You can have your own rant. So I'm re-recording it. And sometimes I feel inspired, right? There's beauty being born out of this moment in the way we are coming together and supporting each other and loving each other. So our lives are changing rapidly. I can't believe the very first video I made about this and shared with a wider community was March 4th. That was 16 days ago. I have milk in my refrigerator older than that, and it's still good. It's like, think about what you were doing 16 days ago. And not that we didn't have an awareness of this before then, but I remember when I started talking about this, my first video ever that I made about this was on February 24th, and I just published that to my friends and family because I thought people were going to think I was a whack job and an alarmist. So this is happening more quickly, more intensely than I thought. Maybe you knew it was coming this fast. My husband says that he does, and I believe him. So I feel like I want to share with you what I sense is coming next because I'm not going to withhold anymore. So I think it's going to get worse. And I think the best thing we can do is, if we have non-essential jobs, to stay home. To stay home and take ourselves out of the mix, take ourselves out of the variables of people who could potentially transmit this. If you do have an essential job, God bless you. If you are a healthcare worker, if you are somebody who keeps our infrastructure running, if you are somebody who stocks the grocery shelves, drives the trucks. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who have to go to work in this, and thank you. It's not easy. People I love are going to work in this, and they don't have a choice. I mean, they do, but you understand what I mean. This is what they do. This is their mission. This is what they're devoted to. So the best thing the rest of us can do is take ourselves out of the mix. Now, that said, I will say I do still go grocery shopping. What I'm trying to do is kind of keep our household supplied. When I go, I'm in and out. I disinfect everything. I change my clothes when I get back home. And then I'm home and I stay home. I might go for a walk outside when there's nobody else, but I'm keeping myself out of the mix. In terms of you acclimating to this new reality, for me personally, I don't see how this quiets down before September. Maybe it does. I hope so. I hope so. Wouldn't that be awesome? I don't see how it does. I think we're in a months long, if not a year long or more process, because at this point we don't have treatment. We don't have a vaccine. We don't have enough people with immunity that it doesn't spread like crazy. And this is huge. And what I have found, I don't know if helpful is the right word. What I have found is helping me center um, in a way that I'm finding meaningful is to really think about this like we're in a war. You know, my mom used to tell stories about what it was like for her during World War II. She was in the US, she was in Chicago, but she talked about how the rhythm of life changed and how what was available in the grocery stores changed and people's lives around them was changing. And we are in a profound time of change now. It's happening. You know, it was odd for me. I was at the grocery store earlier this week and the shelves were bare. And I've never known this before. I've always gone into a grocery store and it has been abundant and whatever I needed was there. I've never had to think strategically about what I buy. If I need something, I get it. It was interesting. I said to my husband, I'm like, I wonder if, and I'm sorry for non-gluten people, I eat gluten. I said, I wonder if we should have like flour and sugar and yeast and ingredients if we need to bake bread at some point. It's not that I don't think there will be bread on shelves, but in a month or two, I may not want to go out to even get groceries. So I'm trying to think of what would I want to have here for the next few months because it's going to get even stranger in the world. So I want you to prepare for that. I also want you to make space for what you need to do to acclimate to this new reality, especially for those of you who are now home with your children. Listen, I have never been a mother to children. I'm a stepmother, which I love being a stepmother, but that's very different. But I have a lot of mothers who take classes with me and I do sessions for and are part of the Illuminating Souls family. So if that is you, I speak to you because I know that a lot of times when your kids are in school, that's where you get in your self-care. And it might not be much time, but an hour or two a day or a couple hours a week, you have a little bit of time to yourself. And maybe that's when you do your self-care and you read something or whatever it is that you do to take good care of you. And now that's not available because the kids are home and the kids right now need a lot from us. I mean, they're scared and they have all of this nervous energy and you're having to change roles. So how you manage a day, how you manage a flow, how you take good care of yourself, well, you're probably freaking out too, but you can't show it. So I want you to have a lot of compassion for yourself and I want you to give yourself spaciousness. And if you need to, give yourself permission to freak out a little bit and just have a safe place you can do that. Have a friend you can call up, or if you have a partner who can hold space for you, saying, I just need to freak out about this for the next 10 minutes. And then I'm going to need to take a deep breath. And then I'm going to need to release it because we've got to move on. Now, here's the hopeful news is I believe in our resiliency. We are amazing in our ability to be adaptive to circumstances, right? We've all lived through circumstances we thought, I don't know if that ever happened to me, how I would get through it. Not that it's like the coronavirus, but I remember getting laid off the week before Christmas. And I always thought if that happened to me, I didn't know what I would do. And then the earthquake came 2 weeks later. And somehow I got through this incredibly wobbly time, right? It's like we are resilient And there is this, especially if you are tuned into who you are and tuned into your guidance, and you've been working on self-empowerment, it's like you will get these flashes of wisdom that say, turn right, turn left, stand still. It's like you will listen and you will have this instinctual knowingness of how to take care of yourself and those you love. And if you'll focus on this, it's not that I'm trying to encourage all of us to be narcissistic and make sure our needs are cared for. But if we can start by focusing on our center and taking care of ourselves and those we love, that's sort of where that's our learning ground. And now we have extra energy to then expand our perimeter, right? I am so inspired by the people I am hearing posting on our community groups saying, if you are immune compromised or if you are older and you need me to go get groceries for you, I'll go get them. People who are picking up masks from within the community to deliver to hospitals. 99% of the people we share this planet with are good and generous and kind. And we will come together in the tapestry that is humanity and help each other through this. So first, take time to feel the immensity of this. Give yourself permission to feel it, and then breathe through it, and then come up with your plan and your approach and what you're going to do. And together we're going to get through this. I'm going to be here for you. The Illuminating Souls family will be here for you. We'll be here for each other. You'll be here for me. We're gonna find our way through this. And I believe in our ability to support each other. So I'm just trying to think of if there are any other tips I wanted to give you. So plan long term. Just I don't know how long this is going to take. This isn't an intuitive hit that it's over by September. But what I would say is, before I was like, plan for 14 days, plan for a month. I'm now like, you know what? Let's just plan our way through September, and then we'll see where we are. Like, just if whatever that would mean for you, make sure you have 30, 60, 90 days on all of your prescriptions. If you don't normally have shelf-stable food, bring some of that into your house. No, none of us want to exist on canned food. We love our fresh goods, right? But you know what? If it's hard to get out into the world to get what we need, you'll be happy you have that on the shelf. Come into a new schedule. Listen, it's not like we're supposed to just keep our lives going the way they were, especially if your kids are at home, you're helping them homeschool, and you're working from home. Please don't be unrealistic with yourself about having some strident schedule and maintaining the status quo. This is a new reality. And in some ways, it's an invitation to redefine our lives. Like, what do we need right now? What do I need now? How can I show up for myself and others now? This is what I'm doing. There are days I'm exhausted and I nap a lot. There are other days I have the energy to come and talk to you. It's like I'm letting go of perfection. Not that I ever really held on to it very tightly, but it's like, I don't have to do this perfectly. I just have to show up in it. That's all, just show up. So I love you. I hope this was helpful. I don't know that it was comforting, but maybe it was. But thank you for receiving my broadcast, and I send you love. We'll talk soon. Thank you.